Presentation for your learning book. Welcome to a unique and engaging way to improve your English skills. This book has been carefully crafted to combine language learning with the pleasure of storytelling, providing you with an enjoyable and practical method to enhance your understanding of English. By integrating reading, listening, and vocabulary building, you will develop your skills step by step in a natural and effective way. To get started, each story in this book is accompanied by an audio file in MP3 format. The audio allows you to hear the correct pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation of the English language. As you listen, follow along with the text in English. This simultaneous listening and reading approach will help you associate the sounds of the words with their spelling and meaning, making the learning process more intuitive and immersive. While reading, keep a notebook or a digital note app nearby. Whenever you encounter a word or phrase you don't understand, make a note of it. After completing the story, refer to the vocabulary list provided at the end. These lists contain translations from English to Portuguese, giving you the meaning of the words and phrases you've noted. This is your opportunity to review, learn, and commit them to memory. Repetition is a key aspect of this learning method. Don't hesitate to listen to the audio and read the text multiple times. With each repetition, you'll notice improvements in your comprehension and pronunciation. Practice saying the new words aloud, mimicking the pronunciation you hear in the audio, and integrating them into your own vocabulary. This book is not just a tool for language acquisition, it's an invitation to explore stories that entertain and inspire while helping you grow your English proficiency. Through consistent practice and engagement, you'll find that learning English becomes a journey filled with discovery and achievement. Enjoy the process, embrace the stories, and celebrate each step of progress you make. Happy learning!
It was a quiet afternoon, and the sun cast golden rays through the windows of the small cafe in the city centre. Clara and her friend Anna were sitting at a table near the window, savouring tea and slices of homemade cake. They hadn't seen each other in weeks, and their conversation flowed naturally until Anna, stirring her tea absent-mindedly, brought up a subject that had been on her mind. "Clara, have you ever felt like you've been neglecting your health?" Anna asked hesitantly, her eyes filled with concern. Clara, surprised by the question, set her cup down and replied, "What do you mean, Anna? Are you okay?" Anna sighed. "Not really. I went to the doctor last week because I'd been feeling so tired, no energy for anything. Turns out my cholesterol is high, and my blood pressure is starting to go up too. The doctor said I need to change my lifestyle. Less stress, more exercise, healthier food. It sounds simple, but I don't even know where to start." Clara leaned forward, intrigued. "Wow, Anna, that's serious. But at least you went to the doctor. I've been meaning to schedule a checkup for months, but I keep putting it off. There's just so much going on with work, with life. It's easy to forget to take care of yourself." Anna nodded in agreement. "Exactly. I used to make the same excuse. But now I realise, if I don't take care of my health, who will? The doctor was very clear these little things we ignore can turn into big problems later on. She even said that starting with just a 30-minute walk a day can make a difference." Clara thought for a moment and then smiled. "You know, I think you're right. We get so busy that we forget our health is the foundation of everything. What do you think about starting together? We could go for walks in the park after work, and maybe we can exchange some healthy recipes too, since you're the chef in our group." Anna let out a short laugh, but her eyes shone with relief. "Clara, you have no idea how much that helps. I was scared to make these changes on my own, but with company it'll be so much easier." "It's a deal then," Clara said, raising her cup in an improvised toast, "to our health and to small changes with big results." Anna raised her cup too, smiling, "To health." And so, between laughter and plans, the two friends took their first step toward a healthier lifestyle, showing that taking care of yourself can be simpler and much more enjoyable when done in good company.
Alice and Pedro's Dream. It was a sunny spring afternoon. Alice and Pedro, two inseparable 8-year-old friends, were sitting under the big mango tree in Alice's grandmother's backyard. The leaves swayed gently in the wind, and the sweet scent of orange blossoms filled the air. Alice had a notebook and a pencil in her hands, sketching stars and clouds. "You know, Pedro," said Alice, looking up at the blue sky, "when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut. I want to explore the stars and walk on the moon." Pedro gave her a curious smile. "An astronaut?" he asked, tilting his head. "Aren't you afraid of being alone in space?" Alice shook her head confidently. "Of course not. I'll have a special suit, an amazing spaceship, and I'll talk to aliens. And you? What do you want to be when you grow up?" Pedro thought for a moment, drawing circles in the sand with a stick. "I think I want to be an inventor," he said, his eyes lighting up. "I want to build things that help people, like robots that take care of the sick or machines that plant trees by themselves." Alice's eyes widened. "That's amazing, Pedro. You could invent a spaceship for me." Pedro laughed. "And you could take me on your space adventures. I'll need inspiration to create more inventions." They sat in silence for a moment, imagining the future together. Alice thought about floating in zero gravity, while Pedro pictured himself tightening screws on a gigantic machine that would make the world a better place. Suddenly, Pedro had an idea. "What if we start now?" he said, jumping to his feet. Alice frowned. "Now? But we're just kids." Pedro grinned from ear to ear. "Exactly. We have tons of imagination. I can build a cardboard spaceship, and you can pilot it. Let's practice for the future." Alice loved the idea. They ran to the garage and began gathering boxes, old cans, pieces of fabric, and even a broken fan Alice's grandmother didn't use anymore. After hours of work, and a big mess, the spaceship was ready. Alice climbed into the cardboard box while Pedro pressed buttons made of bottle caps. "Commander Alice, we are ready for takeoff," said Pedro, imitating a robotic voice. Alice put on a bicycle helmet, held a spoon as if it were a lever, and answered seriously. "To the stars, Engineer Pedro. Countdown. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff." They laughed until their stomachs hurt, imagining planets, shooting stars, and even green aliens that laughed like parrots. That day, under the shade of the mango tree, Alice and Pedro traveled far, beyond the sky. Before heading home, Alice looked at Pedro and said, "Maybe we'll change our minds about what we want to be when we grow up, but I think we'll always be explorers in some way." Pedro agreed. Dream explorers. Because the important thing is to never stop dreaming. And so, with the sunset painting the sky orange, the two friends went home, carrying not only their improvised tools but also the beginning of a big dream that, who knows, might one day come true.
Dona Clara and Mr. Augusto's Christmas. It was Christmas Eve, and the cold wind gently swept through the brightly lit streets of the small village. Inside a cozy living room, Dona Clara and Mr. Augusto, both in their 80s, sat side by side in old armchairs, warmed by the crackling fireplace. On the table between them were 2 steaming cups of tea and a plate of gingerbread cookies decorated by their grandchildren earlier that morning. The lights of the Christmas tree twinkled, casting soft reflections on their glasses. "Do you remember, Augusto, our first Christmas together?" asked Clara with a nostalgic smile, adjusting the shawl over her shoulders. Augusto let out a low chuckle and fiddled with his graying mustache. "How could I forget? I didn't have money to buy a real tree, so we improvised with dry branches and decorated them with paper ribbons you made." Clara laughed along. "It was the most beautiful tree we ever had. It wasn't perfect, but it was full of love." They sat in silence for a moment, each lost in the memories the other had evoked. Light snow began to fall outside, covering the streets with a white veil. You know, Clara, Augusto said after a while, I think life is a bit like that tree. It's not always perfect, but the moments we add to it make it special. Clara looked at him with shining eyes, holding the teacup in her aged hands. That's true. And what makes life worthwhile are the people we share it with. Like you, for example. Augusto pretended to be surprised. Me? I thought the gingerbread cookies were your favorite. They both burst out laughing. It was a light-hearted, unhurried laugh, the kind that only decades of companionship could cultivate. After a while, Clara pointed to the Christmas tree. Just look at how beautiful this year's tree is. The kids made sure to help with the ornaments. It's like each of them put a little piece of themselves into it. Augusto nodded slowly. Yeah, they remind us of what really matters. It's not the presents, it's not the lights. It's the love we pass on. Clara sighed and looked out the window. You know, I think we've had so many Christmases that sometimes I wonder how many more we'll have. But it doesn't matter because each one is unique. This one, for instance, is special because we're together and have our family close. Augusto took her hand, with the care of someone who knows the value of a touch. And that's what matters, Clara. Not how many Christmases we have, but how much we cherish each one. The living room door creaked open, and their grandchildren ran in, holding a cake they had decorated. Grandma, Grandpa, we made this for you. They shouted in unison, placing the cake on the table. Clara and Augusto exchanged a glance full of complicity before smiling at the grandchildren. This is the best gift we could have, Clara said as the little ones sat on the floor around them. Augusto looked around the room, the fireplace, the tree, the grandchildren, and Clara by his side. Life is like the snow outside, he said, more to himself. It falls slowly, gently covering everything, and before we know it, it's gone. But while it lasts, it's magical. Clara squeezed his hand, moved, and softly replied, Then let's enjoy the magic, Augusto. One Christmas at a time. And that night, with the children's laughter echoing in the room and the warmth of love surrounding them, Clara and Augusto celebrated another unforgettable Christmas, full of simplicity, memories, and a deep gratitude for the most valuable gift of all, a life shared together.